He was finalizing his wedding date, convinced his life was perfectly under control until two small girls stepped out of the crowd and called him father. Their voices didn't shout, they whispered. But those whispers shattered everything he thought he knew. A forgotten woman. A truth buried for 5 years. A love that survived silence, illness, and death. That night, a powerful CEO learned that success could disappear in seconds, and that destiny sometimes arrives holding the hands of two frightened children who only want one thing: to not be abandoned again. Daniel Wright had spent his entire adult life believing one thing above all else. Control was everything. Control over his time, control over his emotions, control over his future. At 38, he was admired by the business world. His tech company dominated headlines. His penthouse overlooked the city like a throne above chaos. And in just 3 months, he would marry the woman everyone agreed was perfect for him. Emily Carter was elegant, ambitious, and socially flawless. Together, they looked unstoppable that evening. They sat at an upscale rooftop restaurant, candlelight dancing across polished silverware as Emily excitedly discussed wedding details. "We'll keep it intimate," she said, scrolling through her tablet. "Only close friends, high-level partners, and press we can control." Daniel nodded politely, though his thoughts wandered. A strange restlessness stirred in his chest. He told himself it was just stress. Big lives came with pressure. Then he felt it. The air shifted to small figures, stood beside their table. They were little girls, identical twins, no older than 5. Simple dresses, nervous eyes, hands clasped so tightly their fingers turned pale. Daniel's breath caught. Their eyes. They were his eyes. One girl whispered first, "Are you Daniel Wright?" He nodded slowly, heart pounding. She swallowed hard. "Our mom said you'd recognize us." The second girl squeezed her sister's hand and whispered the words that detonated his world. "You're our dad." The restaurant noise faded into nothing. Emily stood abruptly. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "Who are these children?" Daniel couldn't answer. The girls stared at him like they were bracing for rejection. One of them pulled an envelope from her backpack. "Mommy said to give you this if we ever found you." His hands shook as he opened it. The handwriting was unmistakable. Sophia. The woman he had loved before ambition swallowed everything else. The woman who disappeared from his life years ago without explanation. The letter was short. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. Please take care of our daughters." Daniel's knees weakened. Emily's voice rose sharply, accusing, cold. "This is a scam. They're lying." But Daniel was already kneeling in front of the girls. "Where is your mother?" he asked softly. The quieter twin whispered. "She got very tired. She said she loved us, and she said you would keep us safe." Something inside Daniel collapsed. That night, Daniel didn't go home with Emily. He went with the girls. Their apartment was small, modest, but filled with warmth. Drawings covered the walls, 2 girls holding hands beside a tall man labeled Daddy. Their names were Ava and Mia. They had packed tiny backpacks just in case. Daniel sat awake until sunrise, the weight of 5 lost years crushing him. Had Sophia carried this alone? How had he never known? The next morning, he scheduled a DNA test. Emily was furious. She warned him about scandal, reputation, investors. She said children like this destroyed lives. Daniel listened. A quiet Len realized something. It's terrifying. She wasn't afraid for him. She was afraid of losing control. The DNA results arrived 2 days later. 99.9%. Daniel sat in his car and cried. When? He told Ava and Mia. They didn't celebrate. Ava asked one question. "Are you going to send us away?" He held them tightly. "Never." What followed was not peace but battle. Emily leaked the story. Headlines exploded. Cameras followed them. Rumors spread. Lawyers arrived with threats and accusations. Emily claimed Daniel was unstable, that the children were emotionally damaged, that custody should be delayed. Ava began waking up crying at night. Mia refused to let go of his hand. Daniel learned how fear lived inside children. He learned how to braid hair badly, how to read bedtime stories with different voices, how to promise safety and mean it. One evening, an elderly neighbor brought him a worn book Sophia had left behind. Inside was another letter. Medical records, photos, proof. And words meant for a courtroom. Please don't separate my daughters from TF. Look at this, and we all know I've been exploring. And we all know I've been exploring that path Sophia had left behind. And Lolvice a letter to Subend our Severate. FDS was by left to us. FDHE. Watch quote, we call with sick at. KYK'd can read up. Kawide we can up with you to reguy ake to sick to we to we see to you to we up can you without by you I to see can you sit coda with you to we sigadi guide that we could quite kai kasita kai kev you we I could tech if I you can lay it that we cut you could their father. He doesn't know yet, but he's the man they need. Daniel wept. The courtroom was silent as the letter was read aloud. Emily's arguments sounded hollow. Daniel stood and spoke without defenses. I wasn't there before, he said, but I am now, and I will be forever. The judge ruled. Full custody. Daniel moved the girls into a new home, not extravagant, but safe, warm, full of light. They painted their rooms, drew pictures, fell asleep holding his hands. For the first time, success meant something different. It meant bedtime hugs, school lunches, small voices calling him Daddy. Daniel, right, had finally lost control. And in losing it, he found everything. If this story touched your heart, it's because it carries a truth. Many of us fear that life doesn't always arrive the way we plan it, and that the greatest responsibilities often come disguised as disruption. Like if you believe no child should ever feel unwanted. Subscribe for powerful emotional stories that stay with you. Comment, do you believe destiny gives second chances, or do we choose them? Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most.